Success. It's a broad term to say the least, and a result that many of us struggle to actually achieve. Maybe because we live in a world where our success is often measured by our wealth and fortune. But as time goes on and generations pass, this idea of success is slowly changing. The burning question is, how do young people define success in this day and age? Let's find out. In a traditional sense, the steps to success are simple. Get a degree, find a job, buy a house, and start a family. But according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics, in 2016, 66% of people aged 20 to 64 reported their highest level of education as Year 12 or equivalent, as opposed to 53% of people in 2006. A recent report conducted by the Australian Institute of Health and Welfare revealed that only 27% of young Australians are currently employed on a full-time basis, compared to 35% 10 years ago and almost 50% 30 years ago. What's more, the rate of home ownership has dropped from 51% to 45% for people aged 25 to 34 since 2006, meaning the typical Australian dream isn't always the reality. But for 24-year-old sales professional Ellie, it's a dream worth chasing.
Success to me is setting goals in life and achieving them. Because everyone's definition of success is different. What success meant to my family was establishing a home, in a safe country, where there's plenty of opportunity, and now me as that next generation, my idea of success now is to work as hard as I can over the coming years, particularly my 20s and 30s, for the goal of financial freedom, which allows me to do anything I want in life. I pressure myself for success. It's an internal drive. I received an award for outstanding achievement or greatest achievement within the entirety of Metricon. I came into the company fresh as a university graduate, and the recognition, appreciation, and that, it makes you feel like you're really doing the right thing. Look, I consider myself successful, but where I am is not where the story ends. Financial freedom is certainly on the 5-year horizon, 5 to 10 year, and that is, owning the home and, perhaps sort of starting a family, and by that stage, live an unencumbered life.
On the other hand, 26-year-old Alicia has been travelling the world for almost 7 years now and recently moved here to study.
I was never fully happy at home. I'd finished my first year at university, and I just couldn't shake this feeling that, there was something more to life, and I didn't want to conform to, like school, university, job, settling down. Like, it just didn't sit right with me. For me, success, it's changed as I've gotten older. Once upon a time, I believed it was about how much money you had or like the fancy things that you owned. And then I realized it was more to do with happiness. Having goals and achieving those goals and being surrounded by amazing people to share like this crazy life experience with. The more traditional view would be, climbing that career ladder. So I do think that there's a very broad spectrum because it is really down to the individual person. Everyone's got their own different views and values. I consider myself successful, yeah. But only because, the people who I surround myself with think I'm successful and I think they're successful. And I think, even people who have different values than I do, if they're achieving what they think is successful and they're genuinely happy about it, then I'd like to think that they would think the same about me. I think the worst part about it is probably missing my family. Yeah.
Do you have any regrets?
No, I have no regrets.
Professor Lena Sansi from the University of Melbourne believes that the idea of success comes down to the individual.
I think success in societal terms is perhaps a broad definition. In personal terms, it might be whether it's your perception of whether you've achieved success. And even though you might achieve those broader goals, you still might not feel successful. Expectations for success can do two things. In a person who is quite self-directed and self-motivated, who owns the goals to which they feel they want to aspire to, they've chosen them, they want them, I think that can create a positive stress, if you like. Where young people instead might be driven by external approval or feel that they need that in order to be a worthwhile human being, that's when I think it can create some problems. You know, you might get a classic case where a young person might have been pushed in some direction and achieved something, but they don't necessarily feel happy about that because they haven't been true to themselves, or it wasn't really meaningful to them. They were doing that for someone else and not themselves. So it's important to build resilience and to build coping skills in young people and feelings of being worthwhile that give young people an opportunity to pursue something that's meaningful for them, and so that they can gain the skills that are meaningful for them. It's not so much the outcome, but it's the process of getting there that's important. I think young people are more embracing of a whole lot of different sorts of futures, and I reckon it's an exciting time for that actually.
While the path to success is still a subjective one, it's no longer determined by an individual's financial freedom or material possessions, but rather a sense of achievement within themselves. Ultimately, the key to success is in fact happiness, and though this may not be universally known, it's definitely something that young people are coming to realise. Thank you for watching The Burning Question. If you'd like to stay up to date with our latest episodes and stories, feel free to like us on Twitter and Facebook.